Welcome to Thinking Out Loud. We have our guest, Zach. How do you pronounce your last name?
Zach Cavacas.
Cavacas. Um, he's from Green Mountain or Music Mountain Compost. Excuse me for the um the flip. Can you tell the viewers a little bit more about Music Mountain Compost?
Sure. Yeah. I started the business in July of 2020. I was unemployed because of COVID, and I saw a news article about the law going or the mandate going in on the 1st of July that year. So I did like an hour's worth of research and um, bought a trailer the next day and some buckets and started advertising and um, it picked up pretty quickly because Casella's they weren't doing residential at the time. So that kind of I got to 300 customers like within 2 weeks, and it was mainly because of that. And that kind of gave me the I was able to like leap off of that and keep growing it. And so now I got about 550 customers and just do this full time and I'm expanding very quickly and it seems my business is caught on with everybody in the area and um, now it's kind of growing more organically than more than having to like advertise every day and spending like $10,000 a year on it. It's more organic reach and people are just hearing about me from word of mouth now and so that's kind of been cool and it just keeps growing and growing.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Do you have a question?
You can go with your question first.
Um, why should people compost?
That's a great question. I mean, at the end of the day, really is just about keeping the food scraps out of the landfill to reduce the carbon emissions from that. There's also the fact that the landfills are filling up quicker now. In Vermont, we only have one landfill in Coventry, and that's estimated to be full, I think, within 10 years. And they're not allowing any more of them. So it kind of reduces the impact on the landfill. It's also good just on an individual level to compost, whether it be at home or with me or however people do it. I think it's an easy thing for people to do to help the environment a little bit.
Do you have any competitors?
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, Casella's is the big one, obviously. When I started I know about Casella's. I have for a long time, like a lot about what they do, and they kind of target small businesses in a sense, and they either make them go out of business or they buy them out. I'm sure they hate hearing that, but so my idea at the beginning was kind of play nice with them, and so I reached out to them, and I've always helped them if they need anything, and then now it ended up with them subbing out 4 contracts with me. So the whole time in the beginning, I was worried about them shutting me down, and then they approached me to help them with some accounts, and then now we're talking about me taking on quite a large bit of their composting accounts.
Wow, that's exciting.
But yeah, it just seemed like from being nice and playing ball with them, it made a huge impact.
Yeah, sometimes you never know with big corporations like that. You just
It's
know.
scary.
Yeah, especially when you're the littlest person on the
Yeah,
table.
I mean they're worth $4 billion, and I'm worth 0.001% of that, and but it was a good strategy, I think. But other than them, there's a few like small haulers that pop up every now and then, like people like me with a truck and a trailer. But generally speaking, they don't. I don't talk to them, but I don't know of any other ones that have lasted since 2020. Um, I think there's some up north in like Burlington and like Stowe, Waterbury, but down here it's really me, Casellas, and there might be people I don't know about, but that's about it.
We were talking about big corporations a few minutes ago,
Oh, that's funny.
and I noticed I'm one of your customers,
That's right.
and you use big Home Depot
I certainly
buckets
do. I certainly do.
for our compost.
Yep.
Is Home Depot one of your sponsors or
That's a funny question. I've never actually been asked that question. So when I started, I didn't really know what I was doing, obviously. And the only option to get plain white buckets was make an account with this company called Uline, and then you have to buy a pallet of them at once. And so when I started, I wasn't so sure um, how the business was going to go. So buying a pallet of buckets didn't make sense. And so I was just in Home Depot one day, and I was looking at the prices of their buckets, and it's like $5 a bucket versus like $8 for a white bucket with another brand's logo on it. So I started buying the Home Depot buckets, and I realized pretty quickly nobody ever said anything about it. Like, oh man, this is an ugly bucket, because I was worried about that. Not once has anyone ever said that. Like, oh, I wish I had a white bucket. And then the other part of it is, yeah, it's just unfortunately it's cheaper than a lot of the smaller stores you could go to. Bucket and a lid is like $8. So
Wow.
times 600, it adds up really quickly. But yeah, I mainly found nobody complained about it. And also in the winter, they're really easy to spot.
I was just gonna say that
Yeah.
they're a nice orange color, so you can spot them wherever they
Right.
are.
But the big thing is no one ever said nothing about it. And so I was like, well, they must not care. Like, because I was worried like some of the upper class people would be like, oh man, this is really tacky looking. Like, why can't I get a white bucket? But it just never happened, so I just stuck with it. But they don't sponsor me. I mean, I have an account with them. They're just the best price around. And if you have an account, like you spend $5,000 with them, you get like credits with them and incentives like free rentals, and so it just made sense to stay with them.
Okay.
What time of year is your busiest?
I mean, all year really, because like in the springtime, it's people that either just moved here, that sign up, and just it seems like spring is pretty steady. Summertime is always really busy because people don't want to deal with the home composter a lot of the time because it smells bad or they don't know how to compost. And then in the fall time, people are like, "Oh, winter's coming, and I don't know how to compost outside in the cold, and it's not going to work." And then in the wintertime, I get people from that just same thing. Composting is really hard to do when it's cold out. And so I get people, the convenience people. So it's kind of steady all year long. Yeah.
How do customers, how if someone won't be a customer of yours, what do they need to do?
I mean, just call me really. I'm trying to think of the ways I advertise. I mean, a lot of it's Facebook. Like when I started, the garage sale pages helped tremendously, and they were free to post on. So like I had a schedule like every 2-3 weeks, make one post in a page, go to a different town's page. So that way I wasn't overwhelming anybody and being annoying, but keeping steady with it. And then I started doing Facebook ads, and that's kind of branched out to radio and those signs on the side of the road. So there's a million ways people find me, but literally they just call me. There's no contracts even. I just take their information and then they cancel when they cancel. That's it, really.
Are you willing to share your contact information?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You want me to say it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My website's musicmountainCompost.com. My phone number is 802-342-3834. And then my email is cavacas@gmail.
And we'll post that too with the video,
Yeah.
so that our viewers can get in touch with you if they need to do compost.
Yeah.
Jay, do you have another question?
Or are you a one-man show, or do you have other?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. I am a one-man show. It's like 12, 14-hour days every day during the week. I do take weekends off. Sometimes I have to work those too. It's kind of been in the beginning. I was like, when I get to 300 customers, I'm going to hire somebody. And then when I got to 300, I was like, oh, it's still manageable. And I was like, all right, I'll hire someone at 400. And then 400 came, and I was like, oh, this is still pretty manageable. So I just kind of like let it go. And like when you hire someone, you got payroll taxes, you have disability, you have workman's comp, unemployment. There's a lot more like you got to spend a lot more money on that.
Yes.
So I've kind of been enjoying being by myself as long as I can, because I know when I hire somebody, I'll always have somebody, for the rest of the business. So it's kind of nice, like only having to worry about myself. And I do hire like day laborers that come up to, like my buddies that come up to my site in the winter and shovel, or if I'm tired or hurt, have somebody come up and help me unload the compost. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's just me. My wife kind of helps a little bit with things like paperwork, but that's pretty much it.
What towns do you serve?
So that's a really big list. I have 58 towns I pick up in.
58?
Yeah.
58.
Yep. Yeah. I do about 300 miles a day. So the full list is actually on the website, musicmountcompost.com.
Okay.
But essentially, it's all of Rutland County, Windsor County, parts of Washington County, and parts of Orange County. So I go all the way up to like Plainfield, Waterbury. I go all the way down to like over White River, Springfield, Vermont, Manchester, Fairhaven. Like I try to encompass a big area.
Yeah, that's huge. 300 miles a day is a lot. I'm sure your fuel bill is like.
Yeah, I spend about $100 a day on gas.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I complain about $100 a month.
It can be rough, It's definitely. I mean, the biggest expense of that stuff is the vehicle repairs.
Yeah.
Because I mean, my truck's always breaking.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why I have every other Monday. It's kind of like I do like this afternoon. I go to Woodstock and do a commercial route, but this day every other Monday is like when my truck's broken, I get it repaired on this day. So like I'm leaving here to go get my truck fixed again to get new tires on, and then get my trailer undercoated. So it's like the day to kind of catch up on everything, catch up on paperwork. And
do you have a composting truck and a personal truck?
we have two trucks. We have a Tacoma that is just for the family, and then I have the F-150 for the business. And then here in the next month, I'm buying an F-250, and so I'll have two work trucks and then the Tacoma. But the Tacoma, I started with that. It just it kept breaking because it's such a small truck. So because I was hauling a lot of weight with it.
And what? And did I ask you? I asked you what we should compost,
Yep.
right?
Right at the start.
And what is it composting?
That's a great question too. I mean, essentially, to sum it up, you take your food scraps from your house, and you mix in like carbon material, so wood chips, sawdust, yard waste like leaves, and you do like a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you have 1 gallon of food scraps, you need 3 gallons of leaves or sawdust or wood chips to cover it. Mix it, and then the temperature gets up to, I mean, in my piles, it gets up to like 160 degrees. And then essentially it just keeps breaking down. And then every week or two, we roll the pile, add more stuff, like wood chips usually. And we just keep rolling the pile and record the temperatures for the state. And then after 4 months, we have soil. And then we just screen it, get all the crap out of it, and sell it. But essentially, it's just breaking down the food scraps using carbon materials. And I don't know. I'm sure there's more science to it.
Right.
Like when I started the business, I didn't know anything about composting. I had never composted a day in my life. So I've done a lot of classes and courses on it since then. But when I got into this, I didn't even know how to compost. So I'm still learning.
So you said that there's like junk that you screen off for the soil.
Sure.
What happens to that stuff, and what is that stuff?
So that stuff, well, for me, that stuff gets spread into the farms fields that my facility is on. Okay. But essentially, you're talking bones, those PLU stickers on a piece of produce, because they fit through our screen on our screener. Sometimes like a little piece of aluminum foil, a candy wrapper, and then just a lot of sticks, like little pieces of stick. And then not all the wood chips break down, so you got to screen all that stuff out. And I think people usually just dump it over a bank. But I have the farmer where my facility is. He'll take any of that stuff and just spread it out in his field, because there's still like a little bit of compost in it.
Right.
And so that's been how I've gotten rid of it. But those stickers are the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
You know, they don't break down.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's like 8 years for one of those to break down.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think that they would do something different on produce so that it would be compostable?
That's what I'm wondering, if someone, I'm surprised someone hasn't invented a way to do it cheaply. That way all the stores would, do it.
Yeah, with a sugar backing or something.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, they do that. So I don't
Right.
understand why they couldn't do that on a large
It's probably
scale.
just cost prohibitive,
It probably is.
I bet like if someone could do it a lot cheaper, then everybody would do it.
Right, exactly.
Because they're the worst thing. I mean, they fit through any screen.
Right. So we talked about how busy you are, and you said that you work 14-hour days. What time does your day start and stop?
So usually I'm on the road between 4 and 4:30. Sometimes a little earlier than that if I need to, and then I'm usually not home until 6 or 7 at night during the week. So it's a long, they're very long days. I mean, the routes usually take 10, 11 hours, and then to unload all the food scraps at the site and mix it in, that takes 2 to 3. So it's a little harsh in the wintertime. Like at the end of the day, every day I'm outside, unloading all the food in the cold, and that can be a little tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't mind the long days. The whole thing of it is, I started this business to better, the life for my family. So that's kind of what keeps me motivated and keeps me going.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Do you have any promos or anything you would like to share with Thinking Out Loud listeners?
I mean, I always have like a running promo of like an existing customer signs up a neighbor or someone like on their road or someone they know. They each get a free month of service. But I've never done like, I guess I've never really thought about it. Doing like a promotional thing. I haven't had to yet, and so I haven't. I mean, there's so many things I don't know about business too, like advertising still. Like I'm learning a lot, but yeah, I haven't gone
And
there
it
yet.
seems like your business is growing with very minimal stuff. So
Right.
Why break something that doesn't need to
Yeah,
be broken?
but I mean, like the running promo is always, if someone signs up a neighbor and they're an existing customer, then they both get a free month of service.
Alright. So, and so I think I got all of my questions. Can you see any questions I missed, Amy?
Sure, I'll look, and I've got some too. So I have one of my questions is, we know that you are always taking on new clients.
Yep.
And do you expect to get to a point where you won't take on clients?
No.
Like discuss the number or?
No, not really. I've had like my best friend used to tell me, you're gonna get to a number and then you're gonna plateau, and that hasn't really happened for me. But no, I mean, as far as growth goes, I'm always going to just keep growing it, and I'll add people as I need to. I hope to get to 1,000, within a couple of years, and just keep going with it.
Well, you talked about where the compost goes. So you keep it at your house or somebody else's house?
So I was on the side of the road one day in Rochester, and this guy stopped and said, asked me what I was doing with my stuff, and at the time I was bringing it to a facility in Brandon. And then he was like, "Oh, well, if you ever want, you could do a facility at my house on my farm." And so it's on the end of Jerusalem Hill Road in Rochester, and it's the nicest guy I've ever met. His name's Stuart Brown, and it's the Brown Farm. And literally, I mean, he's welcomed me in. We have a great situation worked out for compensation that is good for both of us. And yeah, he was just so generous for opening that up. And of course, like once he said that and we started the process, it took about a year before we were able to get up and running, because we had to reach out to the town of Rochester, get permission, the local, what is it? Solid Waste District. We had to get permission from them, and then we had to write a business plan for the state, and then a site plan, including like CAD drawings, which is like these fancy, elegant engineering drawings of like the depth of the soil, and there's a lot of stuff we had to do to make it work. But I mean, after about a year, we're up and running. So I live like 8 minutes away from my facility. But the cool thing is, I can actually get there on my 4-wheeler. So a lot of time I just hop on my 4-wheeler if I need to go over, drive through the woods, and get to the site.
I know we're only in October right now, but Christmas is right around the corner.
Yep.
Do you take Christmas trees and wreaths and all
I
that?
don't. I do wreaths. I don't do trees because the issue with that, and I've been asked this a lot, thought a lot about it. A lot of the trees now come with this stuff sprayed on it that's like invisible, and it's like a fire retardant. So say if like your tree, the light's short on your tree and it catches fire, it's not just gonna go poof like they usually do. So a lot of these companies spray it with this invisible stuff. You'll never know it's there, but it's actually like a not a very great chemical. And there's a lot of tree farms that don't do that. But the thing is, there's no way to tell which one's been sprayed and hasn't. So if I put those in the compost pile, it could, spread that chemical, and then I wouldn't be able to sell the soil. But I do take people's pumpkins that on Halloween. I take their pumpkins for free. I try to take everything I can, and then I also do free like bagged yard waste pickup. So anybody who has yard waste as a customer, they just put their bags out with the compost, and I take it at no charge. And it's good for the customer, but it's better for me because I need that material. I need all the leaves I can get, and
Right. And you talked about wood chips too. Where are you getting the wood chips from?
so I have my buddy's farm on Route 100 in Stockbridge. He let me set up a little thing there, and it says wood chips wanted. So as tree crews go by and they're full, they'll stop and dump them.
Oh, nice.
So I don't
You're
have to pay
getting them by
for
the
them.
big loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have probably like 500 yards of them right now, just because I've been stockpiling them. So I use the wood chips, but I really like to use the leaves from the fall cleanups because they're light, they're easy to move, and you can fit a lot of bags on one trailer. So like I partnered with Stafford Technical School in Rutland, and they clean up. I think it's like 30 houses every fall, and it's like 700 bags of yard waste. So I'm getting all those this year because the whole thing is like trying to stockpile before the winter.
Yes.
Because the winter time, I'm not moving any of that stuff.
Right. Exactly.
It's too hard.
Right.
And what's your phone number again for our viewers?
Yeah, it's 802-342-3834.
All right, 802-342-3884.
3834.
3834, excuse me.
You did
No,
pretty
you're
good
good.
at
Yeah.
doing that.
You got it, man. You got it.
What do you do in your spare time? Do you have spare time?
Yeah, I do a lot actually. I have 2 kids and a wife. I love doing yard work at my own house, like projects. And then I'm on my local fire department. I'm not around much, so I don't go to many calls because I'm hardly ever in town. And then I'm also on my town's select board.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then I'm on the Killington Search and Rescue. So I do a lot of volunteering.
Do you have any downtime?
No, not really. But it all stems from, to give the short version of it, I got sober from, really bad heroin addiction 10 years ago. And before that, so I used hard drugs from 12 to 24. And from 22 to 24, I was living in my car. Like it was really bad. And so when I was 24, so 10 years ago, I got sober. Um, and I just I just hit the ground running, like trying to make up for all the stuff I didn't do in those, 10 years of using, because those are like your prime years in life.
Yes.
And so, the big thing was I wanted to volunteer. For many years I did, AA, NA, all that stuff. I kind of don't go anymore. It's because I kind of grew out of it. You can only go to the same meeting where they read the same thing for so long.
Yeah.
But because of that, I've kind of turned being busy into like my new thing, and volunteering and helping out my community. Like I've been the constable in my town. I'm the emergency management coordinator. Like I pretty much take on anything I can to help people. And then at Christmas time, I do like a fundraiser. Like last year, we raised like 2,800. The year before, 3,200. And then I pick 32 families or whatever it is, and they each get $100 in Christmas presents for free.
That's awesome.
So I try to really make like giving back. And then also like if I have a customer that's like either has like cancer going on or they're lost their job. I usually try to give them 6 months of composting for free. So I really try to do everything I can
So
to
really community oriented, and Adam,
yeah.
major props to you for getting clean and staying
Yeah.
clean for 10 years. That's absolutely amazing, and it's really hard work.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I just I was such a I wasn't a good person for so long there when I was using. I kind of felt like yeah to be community minded and give back would be my way of making up for being a little shit years
Yeah, and
ago.
it seems like you are doing that. I mean, you have your hands in a lot of different pots, which is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
That's really
Thank you.
commendable.
Does music mountain compost help you with your sobriety?
Keeps me really busy, and busy equals out of trouble. I mean, like I needed to be really busy, especially at the beginning of sobriety. More, now that like I'm really stable in my sobriety. I haven't had a craving for probably 8, 9 years now. And I don't do anything to like prevent that except just working on myself. And but yeah, I mean, in a sense, it does because it keeps me busy. You know.
Where did you get the name for your business?
I everyone thinks I'm like I play music. My wife does. She's an amazing musician. She plays everything from the saw to the accordion to the guitar to everything. But no, we actually live on Music Mountain Road in
Okay.
Stockbridge.
All right.
So I kind of just stole the name of my road because I thought it sounded good.
Yeah, it does sound good.
But I do get asked a lot if I'm a musician.
Yeah.
And so I have to let people down quite a bit.
That was my next question because it's a music mountain. I was wondering if it was an address or something.
At least once a week, someone asks me if I'm a musician. But half the people kind of figure out it's a road name.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a catchy name. I like it.
So I've got a question. We'll see how this rocks the boat. But I want to know what your biggest pet peeve is that people do in composting. Whether it's something they do with the bucket or something they do on their own, or what is your biggest pet peeve?
I'll preface this that I don't really care. It's okay. But also, um, the funniest thing people do is they'll put a food packaging inside a compostable bag and then tie it off and put it in the bucket. So by putting like a food wrapper, like say it's like a package of turkey, and they put the whole package of turkey in the compostable bag and they tie it off, put it in the bucket. By doing that, they're defeating the whole point of the compostable bag because they left plastic inside the compostable bag.
Right.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, I had someone put like a dead animal in the bucket one time, but nothing, you know.
But pretty much anything, like, for example, chicken wings, the bones, it can be composted.
Oh yeah. I tell everybody because a lot of people don't think you can, but yeah, I mean, bones, meat, grease, people they're allowed to put all that stuff in there. Because my piles they're like 12 feet tall, 12 feet wide, 100 feet long, so they get so hot that even the bones break down a lot of time.
How long does it take the bones to break down?
4 or 5 months, but like the big bones won't break down. Those
Right.
have to be sifted out.
Yeah.
Duncan claims for these straws to be compostable, are they?
So that's a really great question. Basically, what I do with all the compostable products, because even like those green compostable bags, they take 2 years to break down, and I can get a pile of soil in 4 to 6 months. So I put all that stuff in its own pile and just let it sit. Those will break down, and it's probably 2 to 3 years before it'll be gone, which is still better than plastic.
Right. I mean, plastic takes how long to break down?
8 to 10 usually, and it usually even longer than that.
Yeah.
If it's like a small piece.
Yeah.
You know.
I know the big thing when I excuse me. The big thing when I was when I had little kids was that about the diapers.
Yeah.
And being compostable and whether or not I don't know if that has changed.
People like to try to use them. I don't take them just because I don't deal with human matter.
Yeah.
But they will break down. It's just a lot of people, like Casellas, doesn't take them either.
Yeah.
Just because they're too. It takes too long.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm my goodness, I'm gonna fog my throat. Casella's compost. How does that differ from the way? How is their pickup different from your pickup?
I mean, essentially, it's the same thing.
Is it a separate bin?
Yeah.
Separate bin.
So they do residential. They do use, I think they're 13-gallon buckets. So they're a lot bigger than mine.
Yeah.
But also cost a lot more.
Yeah.
So they do that, and then they also do commercial, just like I do. But that's the bulk of their business is commercial, like restaurants, schools. Um, but over time, I've been getting some of their customers, and that's kind of been picking things up on my end. Like I just got a couple really big ones that they were Casella customers for whatever reason. But I also have people that leave me and go to another composter too. So
Yeah.
you know,
So you're pretty reasonable in my book. It's $22 a month.
yeah.
And how did you arrive at your price to be fair to yourself and still make money?
I guess. I mean, I started at $20 a month, and then when right around, I mean, I don't know if it was right when we got a new president. I don't know if that correlates or not because I'm not a political guy, but um, gas went up to like from like $2 a gallon to like $4 a gallon. So I raised it $2 a month for everybody, and even then, I took like 3 months to decide to do it because I was so worried everybody was going to quit, and then nobody really cared. And that $2 extra per person, with over 500-600 customers, like it adds up to making up quite a difference for that gas. But no, I just kind of guessed. I like to look at some other haulers what they were charging, and I kind of thought a lot of them charged a little too much. And I wanted people when I started, I was like, oh, $20. People don't usually think twice about spending $20. Anything more than that, they usually second guess it. So that's kind of where I landed on that.
It's really economically affordable, even for me. I mean, we're a household that's on disability, and it's really kind of some months it's really hard to kind of get to where we want to be
Right.
financially. So it's really nice that you do offer that for income eligible families.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
have a harder time doing that.
Yeah, and I'm set up with the state for this program for lower income people to get it's like reduced or free service or something. But no one's ever done it. But there is like a thing out there that people can get on where they can get service discounted or close to free, and the state pays like the difference or something. But I've never had anyone reach out about it.
Yeah.
How and does that hurt you at all if people do that? And
I don't think so. I mean, because you get the money either way. It might take longer because the state takes longer to pay everybody sometimes. But I mean, no. At the end of the day, I mean, I'll still get it regardless.
do you know how they would sign up for that?
I don't, to be quite honest. I don't know anything about it really. I got asked to sign up for it a couple years ago, and I get like quarterly emails about it. But I mean, that's about it. They don't. I don't know if they don't advertise it, or I don't know what
It
it
may
is.
be the same program that you can get for discounted electricity. It may be part of that program, in which you would have to contact the PAC office and get the forms there. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's probably much the same way.
Because I don't know how you become eligible for it or not. I have no idea really.
We'll do a little bit of research and see what we can do and put that up on the I'll put that up on the page so that it's there.
And I know local offices that
The Capstone office.
Capstone.
office.
Yeah, they might know about it too. It's worth
You're
asking
kind of in
about.
with the Capstone office over there.
Yes, I am.
Your mom works.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was. Since you said that, yeah, my mom works there, so I don't ask her.
Then what is Capstone? Like community assistance stuff?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Voc Rehab over in Rutland.
No.
It's a little bit different. They deal with they deal with people coming in that need help with things, whether
okay.
it be financial or
fuel assistance, etc.
Fuel assistance? Okay.
Yeah. And they help them fill out forms for food stamps or whatever.
That's a good resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do community dinners sometimes.
Yes.
They do a lot of different things for the community.
That's great.
So, is there anything that you can think of that we didn't talk about that you'd really like to share?
Not really. I mean, I'm easy.
You're easy.
I've done maybe like 10 interviews, and I can't fill time by myself, but someone asks me questions, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we covered a really good range of everything. It seems like.
Can you think of anything else?
I think I got covered all mine.
So the only thing I want to tell our listeners is that we now have an email, and it's thinkingoutloud12324@gmail.com. And you can get in touch with us if you know a business that needs some PR, or if you know somebody in the community that you think is making a real big difference. We'd really like to interview them. It doesn't cost anything. It's pretty painless, which is
Yeah, you get to hang out with the dog.
Yeah, Chewy's been in
This dog's been great.
Zach's lap the whole time. It's kind of like
It's been my favorite part.
Yeah, he's been a fidget toy for
I love dogs.
I have one question for you. I was lucky enough, the Magic Music Mountain Compost tie-dye fairy left this on my bucket
Yep.
a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Is there any way someone could pick one of these up?
I haven't done anything with them, to be quite honest. You're the only person besides the people who played on my softball team that day that got a T-shirt.
That's awesome.
Because he had asked a couple times about it, and I was like, I know how much you like tie-dye. So I had to leave you a shirt. But no, I mean, I might get some made, and I mean, I don't know. I just feel weird selling stuff. You know, like I struggle with that sort of thing. I don't want to. Yeah, I just have a hard time selling stuff to people besides like my service. I don't want people to feel pressured to buy a shirt or anything, so I kind of haven't done anything like that. But maybe down the road.
Yeah, maybe a good Christmas present with a subscription for 6 months would be a T-shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, those are pretty great shirts. I do love how they came out.
And Amy brought up a good point. Do you have gift certificates for your service?
I mean, not really gift certificates, but I do have quite a few people. They'll call me and say, "Oh, I want to buy 6 months of service for my mom," and then they'll just pay me for it, and then we'll set up the account and drop a bucket off. But as far as like a physical like gift certificate, we don't. But that's just because people just call me and ask for it. And but like I don't advertise them. I might this year a tiny bit. I just I mean, to be quite honest, I just try to keep it simple, just because it's just me, and it's going well enough for me, and it's just it's like where you draw the line, you know. It's hard to tell, so I kind of I lean the other way with it.
I getcha.
Yeah, but who's to say eventually? Yeah, I might have actual physical cards and advertise it, maybe down the road.
Sounds great. So we'll put up Zach's information at the end of this video too. We'll put it up on the page, and I think that's it. Do you want to take us out of here?
Thank you for joining us for going Music Mountain Compost.
That's right. Thank you for having me.
For some reason, I always want to call it Green Mountain.
Well, a lot of people call it Magic Mountain Compost, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind being called anything.
So, thank you. Join us again next week for
Keegan Tabor,
Keegan Tabor,
race car driver.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Thank you.